In the outskirts of Agba, there lived a happily married couple, Ife and her husband, Nduka. They lived in a one-room apartment that had grown to symbolize their love. Though the room was small, but they lived happily, each passing day sharing lots of love and happiness. The wooden bed was built by Nduka. The patched curtains, Ife had sewn it, and the neatly arranged pots and pans all whispered of a life lived with care and cooperation. Nduka was a furniture maker, skilled but struggling to gain grounds and survive in the competitive market. His hands were hardened from years of working hard with wood, and sawdust seemed to cling perpetually to his clothing. Ife, on the other hand, ran a small trading stall in the crowded main market, selling provisions. It wasn't much, but it contributed to their modest income. They lived happily in love and harmony for many years, until the absence of children after 7 years of marriage was a heavy cloud over their lives. Ife bore the burden of the blame, as it was the custom in their community. "Woman, how long do you plan to keep my son childless?" her mother-in-law, Nne, often said at every slightest opportunity she had with Ifeoma whenever she visited them. "It's been decades now of getting married to my son, and you can't even get pregnant. Talk more of giving birth. Are you sure you are a woman?" But Nduka always dared to defend his wife. He would stand before Ifeoma, shielding her from all the insults. "Leave my wife alone, Mama. God's time is the best," he would say firmly, silencing his mother but not her glares. Their love was their only solace in a world that seemed to conspire against them. No matter the trials, Nduka would often lean close to Ifeoma in the evening and whisper, "We are in this together, always," and they both giggled. One scorching afternoon, as Ifeoma was going home from the market, her grocery bag half empty, as sales had been slow, sweat dripped down her face as she walked the narrow dusty road leading to their home. Just ahead, she spotted an old woman struggling with a heavy bag balanced dangerously on her head. She also held a crooked walking stick, her frail body trembling with every step. "Mama, please wait," Ife called out, quickening her step towards her. The old woman paused, her sunken eyes staring into Ife's eyes. Her voice was loud but kind. "Ah, my daughter, God bless you. This load is too much for my bones." Without hesitation, Ife took the bag from her. It was heavier than it looked, but Ife carried it without complaints. As they walked, the old woman began to mumble words of gratitude, occasionally pointing out the way to her home. When they finally reached a small dilapidated hut, the old woman turned to Ife. "You have done well, my daughter. Come closer." Ife hesitated, but stepped forward. The old woman placed a wrinkled hand on her shoulder and muttered a blessing in a language Ife did not understand. Then her voice grew steady. "Make a wish, my dear. Anything your heart desires." Ife was startled, but decided to humor the woman. "I wish for my husband to become wealthy and successful," she said softly. The woman smiled knowingly and nodded. it is done. Confused but too polite to ask questions, Ife thanked her and turned to leave. As Ife returned, she prepared dinner and kept thinking of her encounter with the old woman. In between her thoughts, Nduka walked in. Obim, what is it this time? Why are you so moody and lost in thoughts that you didn't even notice I'm back? Welcome, my love, Ife reluctantly said. So sorry I didn't notice. I was actually thinking of my strange encounter with an old woman I met on my way while coming back from the market. Ife narrated her ordeal with the old woman to Nduka as they sat down in the living area. Hey lovelies, hope you've subscribed to this channel. If you haven't, please hit the subscribe button, like, share and comment. Put down your thoughts in the comment section and grab your popcorn as we dive deeper into the intriguing parts of this story. Thank you. A week later, Nduka was on his way to his furniture shop when he heard someone call his name. Nduka, is that you? He turned and saw Gozie, an old friend from his school days. Gozie was gorgeously dressed in a suit that screamed wealth. His car, a shiny SUV, was parked nearby. The two men embraced each other warmly. Gozie, my brother, it's been ages, Nduka exclaimed. Yes, it has. Look at you. Still the same hard-working man, Gozie said, glancing at the tools Nduka carried. After catching up, Gozie offered to help. Come to Lagos with your wife. I will introduce you to some business opportunities. You've always been skilled. It's time you make something big for yourself. Nduka and Gozie exchanged contacts. Gozie was so excited that he met his old-time friend, same as Nduka. As Nduka arrived home that evening, he was so excited to tell his wife the great news. Nduka walked into Ife, who was busy in the kitchen. You won't believe who I met today. Do you remember that my old best friend in school, Gozie? I saw him today. Gozie is made. And that's not just it. He invited both of us to Lagos. He promised to help me set up a lucrative business. And we are leaving next week. This is great news, Ife said as she hugged her husband passionately. As they arrived the city, Gozie kept true to his words. Gozie hosted them in his luxurious mansion and introduced Nduka to high-paying clients. Nduka's business boomed, and within months, he was making more money than he had ever dreamed of. They moved into a luxurious house, bought cars and wore designers' clothes. But with wealth came the change. Nduka became consumed by his work. Late nights, endless meetings and trips abroad became the norm of the day. Ife felt increasingly isolated in their luxurious mansion. When she tried to talk about having a child, he brushed her off. Money first, Ife. We need stability before children, he would say, though their wealth was more than stable. One evening, as Ife sat alone in their grand living room, she muttered to herself, what good is all this if I have lost my husband? Her loneliness deepened as Nduka grew distant. The man who had once defended her so fearlessly now barely noticed her. Her husband's recent behavior towards her feeling and not wanting to have a child made Ife so frustrated. Knowing fully well that time is no longer by her side, she became depressed by the whole situation. Desperately, Ife went on her knees, this time pleading to reverse her earlier wish. God, I was wrong. Take it all back. Let us go back to where we started. but give me my husband back. That night, she prayed so desperately as tears rolled down her cheeks as she knelt down in the middle of her room. Right there, she fell asleep. As she slept, she dreamt of the old woman's wrinkled face. "It is done," the woman said, her voice echoing ominously. Ify woke up that morning, breathing heavily and shocked that she saw the same old woman. "Could it be that the woman I met in the market is a spirit?" she muttered to herself. "How come I saw her in my dreams?" she pondered within her. She became scared of what the outcome of her wish could be, knowing fully well she made that prayer out of desperation and frustration. Few weeks later, disaster struck. A major deal Nduka had invested in collapsed. Soon, one failed venture followed another. Nduka became so depressed. Banks came knocking, demanding payments of loans. Their properties were seized, and their once glamorous lifestyle crumbled. Nduka's spirit broke entirely. "What have I done to deserve this?" he lamented as he packed their belongings to move back to the village. Ify, on the other hand, knows fully well that everything happening now is as a result of the outcome of her prayer. In the village, life was harsh. The small community whispered about their downfall, and Nduka fell into a deep depression. Ify, however, remained strong. She returned to her petty trading, and bit by bit, they rebuilt their lives. Months later, Ify began to feel strange. She visited the village clinic and received unexpected news. She was pregnant. Tears streamed down her face as she thanked God. When she told Nduka, his joy was complete. "This is the second chance we needed," he said, holding her close. The birth of their son brought new hope. Though life remained simple, their love was rekindled. They worked together to rebuild, contented in the knowledge that they had weathered life's storms together. As Ify watched Nduka play with their son under the mango tree, the sounds of their laughter carried across the peaceful village, blending with the chirpings of the bird and the rustle of the leaves. Life had come full circle, but this time there was a deeper appreciation for the things that truly mattered. The struggles they endured together had left indelible marks on their souls. Every wrinkle on Nduka's face and every callus on Ify's hand told the story of journey defined by love, loss, and renewal. Their son Chibuzo was now the center of their world, a living proof to their strength and faith. In the quiet evenings, after putting Chibuzo to bed, Ify and Nduka would sit together on their wooden bench outside their modest home, gazing at the starlight. It had become a ritual, a time to reflect on their past and dream about their future. "Do you remember Ify?" Nduka said one night, his voice filled with a mixture of regret and gratitude. "When we thought wealth would solve all our problems." Ify smiled faintly, her gaze fixed on the moon. "I remember. I also remember how I prayed for it to go away. Not because I didn't want it, but because I wanted you back." Nduka reached for her hand, his grip firm yet gentle. "I was a fool to let it blind me. Money made me forget what was important. But you, Ify, you never wavered. You kept us alive when I fell apart." A tear rolled down Ify's cheeks, but she quickly brushed it away. "We both lost our way for a while, but God, in His mercy, gave us a second chance." Over time, Nduka found a way to rebuild his furniture business in the village. With a renewed sense of humility, he took on small commissions, repairing old chairs, crafting simple tools, and carving traditional designs that reminded people of their cultural heritage. Their work gained recognition not because of grandiosity, but because of its honesty and craftsmanship. Ify too expanded her small trading business. She began selling hand-woven baskets and local snacks in addition to provisions. Together, they became an integral part of the village community, earning the respect and admiration of their neighbors. Chibuzo, growing fast and full of curiosity, became their pride and joy. His laughter filled their home, a sound more precious than any riches they had once known. One day, as Ify was sorting goods in her shop, a familiar figure appeared in the doorway. It was Nne, her mother-in-law. Time had softened the older woman's sharp edges, and her eyes now carried a mixture of guilt and longing. "Ify, my daughter," Nne began hesitantly, wringing her hands. "I have been a wicked woman to you. I have said things I shouldn't have. But now, seeing all you've been through, how you stood by Nduka, I realize I'm wrong." Ify stood still, her heart pounding. "Mama, it's okay. I bear no grudges for you. To err is human, and to forgive is divine," and they both embraced each other. Hey lovelies, we have come to the end of this amazing story. Hope you found this story interesting. Please drop in the comment section what moral lessons you've learned from this story. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel at African Storytales by Agba. Big ups to my founding subscribers. Thank you for always sticking around. Like, share with family and friends. I remain your favorite storyteller, African Storytales by Agba. Bye till we meet again next weekend. Thank you.